Hey everybody! So this is day 3 of my Back to Basics makeup training for the ladies that really don't know anything, are kind of starting at the very bottom level and just wanting some tips and tricks to incorporate in their daily routine to help them look refreshed and put together and without having to be a pro or like spend hours and hours and hours. So that's what we're doing on here. If you hop on and you are watching, say hi so that I can say hi to you back. If you're watching but you don't see the red live button up at the top, that means that you're watching the replay. Do me a favor and hashtag replay so that I can say hi to you even off the live viewing, videoing, whatever. So today we're going to talk about eyebrows. I feel like eyebrows is a very, very crucial part of looking all put together, and everybody's eyebrows are different. Some are really thin, some are really thick, some are really sparse, some are really light. Just they're all different. But really your eyebrows are, if you think of them like a frame, so they're like the frame to your eyes. If your eyes are the picture, then your eyebrows are the frame. So they're really, really important to be visible. So if you were like me and you grew up in, I graduated in 2003, so it was really trendy and cool to pluck almost all of your eyebrows off, like really, really thin. That was like what you did. And then fast forward 15 years and we're all like, why did we do that? Because we've all messed up our eyebrows. I've spent, I think about at least 8 to 9 years like growing mine back and really, really being very careful about tweezing and waxing and all of that. They can grow back, but it depends on how long you've done it. So if you have very, very, very thin eyes, you absolutely want to fill them in, but you do want to be careful because it can start to look filled in, and we don't want it to look filled in. We want it to fill them in so that they look natural and full and provide that really pretty frame to your eyes, which are the window to the soul, so they better have a good frame, right? So there are multiple ways you can do that. There are multiple products. I do like a pencil if it's very, very thin, like hairline thin type of, allows those kind of like hair-like strokes. We do have one of those. I really love it, but today I'm going to show you using a palette, because although I feel like beginners feel like an eyebrow palette with all of these colors and options seems a little overwhelming, I want to kind of break it down and show you why it's not overwhelming at all. So if you know anyone that needs eyebrow help or has been asking for eyebrow help, don't just send it to anybody that you think maybe needs help. Send it to people that want help. So if you have any of those people, feel free to share this video. Shares are appreciated. Okay, so I have the blonde palette. Obviously I'm blonde, and so it's got a dark brown, it's got a light like blonde, and then it's got these 2 cream options and then a wax. And I'm going to just show you what I do and what I think is very, very easy and takes very little skill but has a very big wow factor. So again, my eyebrows are pretty full. They're pretty, like, they're thick enough, and this is them all by themselves. They do a decent job, but especially if I'm going to do like a darker smoky eye, I want that extra kick. So this is what I normally do. You're also going to need an eyebrow brush. Younique has this really awesome 2-for-1. It's got one edge is completely flat and then one is angled. They're so, so tiny. Like, look how skinny that is. So it provides like the perfect hairline stroke. So this is what I do. I start in with the light shade on the flat edge. I get it nice, a good amount on the tip. And then I just lightly sketch where the hair starts growing. So for me, it gets really faint down here, and it's kind of, there's some sparse areas like right there. That's a little bit of a scar, so that's sparse. So I just line where it starts growing up into where it's visible down over here. It looks a little weird at first, just bear with me. Like I said, if you're jumping on watching, say hi so I can give you a shout out. Once I get that, then I move up above and I just kind of also fill in. There's a lot of hair that grows in, but you just kind of can't see it. Either the way it dips down or it's just really fair. Especially if you're blonde, you're gonna have a lot of those fair hair. And then I just sort of, with small strokes, again, I'm still in the light color, small little strokes, I just sort of fill it in. And it's really, really important to make sure that you're going the direction that your hair is going. So right here, my hair is laying this direction. It's laying pretty much horizontal. But over here, it's going almost straight up, and then it starts to just sort of slowly, gradually fall down. So I start where it's darker. Because it's so faint here, I don't want to come on with just like a really dark pencil mark. I like to just sort of end where it's the lightest, if that makes sense. So I just sort of brush, again, in the direction that it's going. So I start to move my brush more vertical, and just little tiny strokes. And it just, this powder is super fine, and it just fills it in nicely. And then once I feel like I've got like a good enough color, I'll kind of go back under where that line is, run it back and forth, and just sort of push that line up just to kind of blend it all the way through, because you don't want like a really harsh line. Obviously that doesn't look real. So now I'm going to go in with the darker color, same side of the brush for now, and I'm going to find where it arcs and hit it right here, and now we're going to go down. I feel like I always like that part to be just a little darker. A, it's thin and it's supposed to be thin, but this is sort of the part, and depending on your face, that disappears. It'll disappear in pictures. It's not that visible. Now, if your face is like mine, my face right about here curves back. So this part of my eye is really starting to come back. So in a picture, which is 2D, it kind of flattens the 3D aspect of where if you were looking and talking with me in person, I'm moving my head slightly so you're seeing both the frontal and the side. But in a picture, you're stiff, and a lot of times if it's not filled in, this part of the eyebrow will just vanish. And it's almost like kind of that eye, like this, the picture sort of flattens it and it disappears sort of. So it's really important to fill in all the way to the end of your brow, but also go just a little bit darker right there. Depending on if you're a brunette, they have a brunette palette. If you're really like black hair, they have a dark palette. So the two colors are very complementary, and then it's a gradient fade. So it's not going to be like, wow, you did like light brown here and dark brown here. It gradually just kind of blends into like a natural hair color. All right, now I'm going to go in with the angled brush. I'm going back in with the dark color just a little bit, and here I'm just going to add a few strokes, just a couple. I see how the angle is here. I like to put the long side down and just kind of bring it up. And that is that. So let me just go ahead and quickly do the other side. So again, you're gonna line it. Give yourself that kind of starting point. And then hit up the top. This just sort of, again, brings attention to the hair that's already there. This is also something that you can do if the hair is not there, or if it's really, really thin right there, and just sort of build it up where your eyebrow kind of should be. And we have stencils too, if you're like very, very unsure, or if your eyebrows are literally non-existent and so you don't really know where to start with. But I would say, like, be careful when you're plucking. If you're doing your own eyebrows, just be careful, because over plucking never looks natural, ever. It never, it ages you, in fact, and this is like the fattiest part of anybody's eye, whether you have really hollow eyes or really kind of plumpy eyes. Anyways, right here is where you have the most fatty part of your eye. And the more tugging and the more plucking actually causes this to wrinkle. and it'll make you look older faster. So make sure that if you are plucking your eyebrows, you know really what you're doing. So figure out what shape works for you. For instance, your eyebrow really should start, if you angle from the corner of your eye out to your nose, that's where your eyebrow should start. So if your eyebrow is starting like straight up from the corner of your eye, or even like into your actual eye, like closer where your iris is, that's not going to be good for you. That's too far back, and it's going to make you look like you have very, very wide set eyes. And it's just, you don't want your eyebrow to be the focal point. I guess that's the key. Like when you look at a beautiful picture, which is why I like calling it the frame. If you look at a beautiful picture, you don't focus in on the frame. Or you shouldn't, otherwise it's not that great of a picture. The frame really is just there to like enhance what's beautiful, and in this case it's your eyes. Whether you think your eyes are beautiful or not, they are the number one thing that people look at and engage with and feel comfortable with, or you know what I mean? It's how we gauge one another, hence the windows to the soul, because it's how you can see who that person really is. So as far as beauty goes, like the frame should just really enhance your natural eyes. You do not want the frame being the focal point, if that makes sense. So if your eyebrows you feel are the focal point, that's probably not a good thing. Even if you've got great eyebrows, it probably means something's a little off, or they're gonna not look real. And if they don't look real, again, it's bringing attention to them. So these are just things, and obviously these are my own opinions, so you don't have to, this is just what I would suggest. So if you feel that your eyebrows are not starting like this, where I said, you might want to start allowing them to grow in, which I know is painful when they're thin, but allow them to grow in, or start filling them in, seeing how you can do just filling that space in. If it's really, really too far, or you have really oily skin, sometimes that will give the tendency of it not looking real. If there's not actual hair to blend in with, you might want to try something like microblading or tattooing. Like that'll help as you grow your eyebrows back. There's also serums. We have a really great eyelash serum that can also be used on your brow, and that will help the hair to grow back. But trust me when I say you want your eyebrows thick. You want, not too thick, but you want them thick, and you want them, you know, full, I guess is what I'm saying. I keep saying thick, I mean full. The other thing that you could be doing wrong is, like I said before, maybe your eyebrows are starting here, and that's okay, but if your eyebrows are basically ending at the arc, that's not really great either, because like I said, maybe front on it looks okay, but when you're seeing this whole side, like that is literally half of my eyebrow if that were to be gone. Do you see how that would just cause my eye, it just doesn't look completed. It just sort of stops there, and again, A, it becomes the focal point, which you're not going for, but B, it's just not all that flattering. So if your eyebrows end here, or even if they naturally do, you might not have plucked them. Like some of us just don't have the full eyebrow. If that's true, just draw on that wing or that tail just slightly. You just want it to angle. It's the same rule. So put your pencil out here. That's about where they should start when you angle your pencil from the corner of your eye towards your nose. And then angle, basically line the pencil up with the bottom line right here, right? That's all. This is also a tip. This is where your wings should go. Wherever your bottom line continues up, that's how you draw in, your winged liner. So it's the same rule, but that's about where your brow should end. So it's kind of like, think of it like a V. So it actually extends, it completely frames the entire top portion of your eye, so on both sides. So those are just some general tips if you're needing them. I'm gonna go back in and just make sure I fill this in real quick. And because it's powder, if you get a little spot like right there that's too dark, you can easily blend it in. Kind of brush it off, whatever you need to do at this stage, because it's powder, which is the one reason I feel like pencil is a little less forgiving. It's a little easier maybe because there's no dipping, but it's a little less forgiving as far as blending. Okay, now the very last step I do with the same flat edge, and it's the wax, right? It's a little tinted, but it's basically just a wax. You don't need a lot. just paint it on your brush. It's kind of, I say wax, but it's got like a little bit of a Vaseline type of a feel. It's like about that texture. Oh, I'm getting notifications. Okay, and then you want to just sweep that up. Well, not up necessarily if yours don't go up, but you want to sweep them in the direction that your hair grows. And this is really, really crucial for people who have kind of unruly eyebrows. So if your eyebrows tend to want to go in all different directions or slope downward or just cause some sparseness, even though maybe you have the hair but the eyebrows move in different directions, it can make it look like there's some bald spots. This will just sort of, think of this as like hairspray for your eyebrows. And it's not harsh, it's not hard, it's really, really great. Sorry, let me answer some questions. I'm sorry that the way my phone is situated, I can't see all of your questions. So Arif, if you could ask me again, I'll try to answer it. So now once your brows are done, the best thing that you should do is highlight underneath them. So I always save this part of my eye shadow look till the very end, until after my eyebrows are done. And I go in with the Deluxe brush usually, and I'm gonna just go in with any kind of light shimmery color. So this is the color Opportunistic, and I love this color. I'm just gonna dab the top part of the brush and just tap it right there underneath your eyebrow, right under the arc. And then I like to just bring it all the way down as well. And then make sure again like that you follow up on this part. And not everybody's eye is going to, you know, wrap to the side of their head like mine, but most people do a little bit. And in school I was an art major for the first 2 years, and did a lot of learning how to draw portraits and all of that. And I remember that, makeup aside, that was one of the most important things to capture, is not to forget about this side of the head. And a lot of people, when they were drawing straight on, would, like I said, just sort of miss these features because they look a little distorted when you're looking straight on. But they're really, really, really important, and they really matter. So make sure, like I said, that your eyebrows are starting here. I think this is the most important thing, like this, and ending here. You have dark skin. Can you tell me what to do? It's the same basic thing for dark skin, light skin. It's all the same thing. You're just gonna want to find a brow powder that matches your eyebrows, whatever that color is. And you can do the same basic strokes, everything. If you want to highlight them a little bit more, then what you're going to want is to focus on this part and actually getting some highlighter up under your eyebrow and on your eyelid. That's going to kind of show off your eyebrow a little bit more if you have darker skin as well as lighter skin. So it just kind of brings that pop. Is that answering your question? I'm not sure what exactly you wanted me to tell you what to do. And then that's really all. Also, you can also sometimes highlight just above the tail. I kind of go in a little rough and then blend that out. That just brings some extra highlight up on your eyebrow. Okay, so that is my eyebrow palette tutorial. If you want to see a pencil or what I would do with the pencil, or if you have any other questions, or if you do maybe have eyebrows that you want to fix, or bad eyebrows or whatever, and you want like specific help for your eyes, for your face, message me and I'd love to help you. I promise you it's not that complex. You just have to figure out your face shape, your eye shape, and what's going to look the most flattering on you. Again, it's important to have the frame, but it's also important not to have your eyebrows be the focus. You want your eyes and the rest of your face to be the focus always. So I will get on here and follow up with some of these questions that I didn't get to while I was live, but like I said, feel free to message me any questions that you might have, and I will do some one-on-one with you and get you the help that you need. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be on here tomorrow. Bye guys.